Hello students, today we're going to start with the first chapter of our literature reader, The Violet. As you can see, The Violet is a poem written by Jane Taylor. So let's
Jane
look at the
Taylor
poet's
was a
profile
British
to
poet
understand her
and
better.
novelist. She wrote the words to the song Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. She was born on 23rd September 1783 and died on 13th April 1824. She had a sister, Anne Taylor, and sometimes people get confused whether it was Anne Taylor or Jane Taylor who wrote Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. But I'm sure now you will be able to clear all doubts of such people. So it's interesting to know that the work that you're going to read has been written in the 19th century.
I will explain the entire poem to you line by line, but before that, we need to understand the way the poet Jane Taylor has written this poem. She has used personification.
So let's understand what is personification. Personification is a figure of speech in which a thing, an idea, or an animal is given human attribute. Here are some more examples of personification. You see the first example, look at my car. She is a beauty, isn't she? Here, a human quality has been given to the car. The same has been followed in rest of the examples. Now that you've understood this, let's move forward with the poem. I will begin by reading the poem. Down in a green and shady bed, a modest violet grew. Its stalk was bent, it hung its head, as if to hide from view. And yet it was a lovely flower, its colours bright and fair. It might have graced a rosy bower instead of hiding there. Yet there it was content to bloom, in modest tints arrayed, and there diffused its sweet perfume within the silent shade. Then let me to the valley go, this pretty flower to see, that I may also learn to grow in sweet humility. We have already discussed that the poet uses personification in this poem. The poet here in the first stanza is trying to tell us about the violet, which is growing in a shady bed. It is modest. Modest is a quality that is given to a human. Further in the first stanza, the poet is talking about how the violet is looking like. Its stalk is bent and it seems as if it's hanging its head, as if to hide from view. So again, human-like qualities have been given to the violet. So here we basically find that the violet is a shy flower. In the second stanza, the poet is further describing the flower and telling us that it is a lovely flower. Its colors are bright and fair, and it might have graced a rosy bower. A rosy bower is a place where there are many other flowers with the violet. And instead of being growing in a place where there are other flowers and plants, it's growing in a place where no one will come out to actually see the violet. It's a shady bed. No one will come out to look at the violet over there. In the third stanza, the poet tells us that although the flower was not graced in a rosy bower, yet it was content to bloom wherever it was. So here the poet is trying to tell us that the flower is content with whatever the situations are. And in all these circumstances, perhaps the circumstances would have been better for this flower if it was in a rosy bower again, because there were many people who would come and have a look at the flower. But here it's in a shady bed where no one's coming to look at the flower. But still, it has not lost hope. It is diffusing its sweet perfume. The flower does not care wherever it is, but it is doing what it is supposed to do. In the fourth stanza, the poet is asking to go into the valley where the flower is. Not only is the poet willing to go and look at the flower over there, but she also wants to learn humility from the flower. Humility, why? What is the meaning of the word humility? Humility means modesty. So the flower is modest enough because no matter the circumstances, it is diffusing sweet perfume and it is doing its job well. What do you think we learn from this poem? What do you think the poet is trying to tell us? Of course, the poet is trying to tell us that we need to be like the violet, a flower which is growing in a shady bed, even though it knows that no one will come down and look at me, even though it knows that the circumstances are hard. It is going on to do what it's supposed to do. It is diffusing sweet perfume wherever it is. So, like this flower, we also need to be positive in any kind of circumstances that we are in. What is a better example than this pandemic that we are living in? The art of being positive here is also very important. We need to maintain positivity in our day to day lives so as to overcome this disaster. So I hope you learnt what the poet was trying to teach us through this poem and you try to be more positive in your lives from now on. Now we will have a quick recap of what we've learnt in the poem. Important points. The poet has personified the flower and given it human-like qualities. The violet is growing in a shady bed instead of a rosy bower. It doesn't give up and still diffuses sweet perfume. It doesn't matter to the violet wherever it is and makes peace with the situation. And lastly, the poet also teaches us that we need to learn to have modesty and positive attitude like the violet.
Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.